No one knew Freddie really well, but he was. I'm going to start by saying he was the funniest man I've ever seen. I remember seeing him perform at a club in Windsor called Blazers. It was the night of his managers got married during the day, and we all went to the reception, and afterwards we went to see Freddie perform at Windsor. And I thought then, if all the time I've got breath in my body, I'll never be as funny as Freddie Starr. And he was one of my heroes. And it's just great to see him in the young years.
What did he do?
He had a physicality. Well, when I impersonated him back in the late 80s, he had a scary look, you know. He'd look at you, and it was very difficult to be with. And I just loved his physicality. He could throw himself over a stage, and he had danger. And danger was fantastic.
Well, that's we touched upon this because the first time, actually, that was the first time I interviewed you as well, Bob. You were alongside Freddie on a chat show I had back in 2002, 2003. And again, it was that look he'd fixed you. And it's the look that you grew up with, but when he's in front of you and you're on live television...
The first time I ever met him, I pulled up alongside him in my car, and I went, "Oh, Freddie Starr there," and I started waving him. "Hey, come back to my house." It was in Windsor. He was living in Windsor. And he took me into his house. And he didn't drink, Freddie. He didn't drink alcohol. And he'd get his guitar out and sort of, I felt very awkward. It's just me, you know, sitting there with a cup of tea. And then all of a sudden, he's singing to me with the guitar. And he went, "OK, you've got to go now." And he pushed me out the door. "Oh, Freddie, really nice to meet you." And he pushed me out the door. And he turned all the lights out. And my car was parked somewhere on his driveway. And I could hear him giggling behind the door, going, break your neck.
Waiting for you to trip over the sit-down mower.
But watching Freddie performing on that, I don't know if you've shown the famous Vincent sketch.
No,
right, this was from the Royal Variety Show.
Well, the great thing about the Royal Variety Show, if I've got this right, is that he was such a hit on it. No one's ever been asked, as he left the stage, to come back and take a round of applause. It's normally you leave and you go. And then, but I think Max Bygrave, if I'm right in saying this, Max Bygrave was the compere, and he said, bring him back on for a bout because he was such a hit. And he came back on, and it's the only time that had happened before. But my favourite routine, I'll do a little bit for you, was when he used to do the Vincent song, and then he'd do the speedy up, slowy down thing.
Yeah.
I'll have to stand up.
Do we have it?
Let Bobby do it.
Just wait. So he used to come out, and he'd go, OK, which camera?
There you go, on number one.
And he used to say, I'm going to sing a song, Vincent, and we don't use tapes. And then he'd go, put the tape on. And he'd start the song because he had a beautiful singing voice. And he'd go, "Starry, starry night." And then he'd speed up, "Paint your up at a blue and grey, look out, look out on us, look out on us. Oh, the summer's day." It was so starry night. And I could have told you, I used to love it. I used to make me laugh every time.
The place went wild, didn't it?
The place used to go balmy.
Yeah,
we mentioned it to our Stan, this sort of about his legacy, and I kind of wonder, you know, comedy moves on, as you know, Bobby, we talk about this all the time, but what do you think Freddie will be remembered for? I mean, hopefully it's not just a standout headline, with a crazy headline that didn't...
Well, it wasn't true, of course.
No,
it was a publicity thing I think Max Clifford created for him, and it was great for him. The great thing about Freddie was he was most naturally funny man I've ever seen. He was naturally funny, he had funny bones. But you could go and see a Freddie Starr concert, and you could see him on a great night, but you could also, for every great night he did, there was 3 bad ones where he didn't want to do it, or he didn't really know what he was doing.
And that was the
and is
demons
that what you
sort of...
hinted there, that nobody ever really knew him? Was there a sort of a reclusiveness which pushed people away?
I might have been one of the last people to speak to him because I went over to Spain to do a couple of gigs last year, and someone said that Freddie was living in that place in Spain. And I got in touch with him. I got hold of his number and phoned him up. And at first he didn't really feel like talking, and then he called me back. "How are you doing, Bob?" I said, "I'm all right. How are you, Freddie? Would you like me up for, a cup of tea? I'm in town." And he said, "No." He said, "I've not been too well." And just by looking at the pictures, I want to remember the Freddie that we all remembered.
Well, it's the archive footage we've been enjoying today, actually. And also for a new generation who possibly only ever remember him from the jungle.
For that brief stint, didn't he? We've had this lots of tweets this morning. Thank you for all of those. But Scarlett saw him live at Blazers, where you, as mentioned, in Windsor many years ago. With Mike Reid was his support, very funny. His Elvis was great. He forgot his sideburns, had to go back and get them. and Scarlett says that Diana Dawes on the table next to them.
Yeah. He had the ability. I don't know if you ever saw him on the Desert Connor shows. He was always one of the best guests on Desert Connor. And he came out once, and it was who was the famous West End singer? She had a dog. She had a little
Elaine
dog.
Page.
Elaine Page. Sorry, Elaine. And she had this little like sort of Jack Russell dog or something. It was like a little Scotty dog.
Yeah.
And Freddie came out with a stuffed dog. And her dog was... It's all OK, he won't bite. And it was one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Just watch and
he just put it on the sofa, and the dog saying... and Elaine trying to protect it, and they were sniffing each other's bottoms, and this dog had been stuffed.
Amazing.
It was amazing. Someone told me a great story about when he actually found a skeleton in the cupboard, and it was just in a dressing room or something. He discovered this skeleton, and he came out and he did 10 minutes dancing with the skeleton. You can imagine what he was doing with the hands of the skeleton.
Yeah.
And then the next day, he'd forgotten that he'd ever done it, and that was Freddie.
Wow.
Sad.
And then-
Well,
Thank
look,
you so much for
great to
coming in.
talk to you.
Oh,
Thanks
it's
so
great
much.
to remember
those
him.
memories as
Yeah,
Rest in
lovely.
peace, Freddie.
Yeah.
I thought
We
it was
all
fantastic.
hope so. I think we all hope so.
Yeah.